All right, so we finally got some new gameplay for Soulframe. This is the new game from DE. It's a um, spiritual sequel to Warframe. I don't know what you would call it, but basically, it's not Warframe. It's Soulframe. It's a much slower third-person game. And finally, TennoCon showed some new footage, and we're going to talk about it. They promised a year. They did, and we're a year in, and it's not playable, but we got some pretty decent footage. So make sure you guys go grab something to eat, grab something to drink, because I'm going to spend some time with you guys talking about this trailer. But before we do it, I told you guys I'm working on a fan project because I love Warframe 99 so much that we're going to make a fan project for it. It's going to be a playable third-person game. I probably can't distribute it because that doesn't sound very legal, but I'll create it and play it and make footage of it. And that'll be fun. It'll be fun for me as I practice becoming a game developer myself. This will be a project that will help me get better and can hopefully entertain you guys. So you guys saw the Warframe 1999 trailer. I basically started with loading up a pretty low poly model of Excalibur. I don't have the face for Arthur yet or the hair or anything like that. Pretty basic gun in his hand. Some basic animations and scripting going on in there. So we can spin the camera around. We can aim the gun. We can shoot it. I think I actually shot it in this footage. But the gun fires. You can deal damage to enemies. But I don't have any enemies spawning. But we got the subway. So we got the subway. We got some decent lighting, some janky animation. It's not going to be as good as D's work, bro. I'm amateur, right? But it'll be a cool project to fan out to something that I thought was pretty dang cool. And we're going to keep working on that. I'll keep you guys updated as many videos as I can. But what we're here for is the Soulframe demo. So let's fast forward a little bit. So we're not going to watch the whole thing, but initial impressions, just starting here, game's pretty. Like, game's really pretty. You can see they added a bunch of lighting. It's definitely updated from what Warframe looked like. Way updated from what Warframe looks like. So nice textures, nice foliage, grass, lighting, anything you can name, right? My eyes are happy. My eyes are very happy with the way this looks. So presentation wise, anything I say that may be taken as criticism after this point, just know that the presentation is, to me, the graphical presentation is far and beyond, right? Especially stepping things up from Warframe. So that's my opinion. It's gonna look better. But let's just break down some of the things in here. So we got this player housing. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm always gonna be honest with you guys. I don't care about player housing. I don't really play MMOs. We'll talk about that in a second. But there is player housing customization. Me personally, I don't get into that, but I get why it's in the game. People are gonna want this. It's gonna have like some character customization and stuff like that. When you beat bosses or enemies and stuff like that, they will come here. I don't know how that works mechanically, but it works with the mechanics of the game, so it's not just cosmetics. But yeah, I don't really get into player housing. Character looks good again, graphically. So let's fast forward a little bit. Let's get into the meat of this. Lighting looks great. Character animations, like if you want to compare this to something like Dark Souls visually, I would say it's fair. A lot of people are saying Soulframe, right? And there are going to be some comparisons where it's like, oh, it doesn't even come close to what Dark Souls does, and as far as combat or this or that or Elden Ring. But what you cannot say, and I don't think would be fair, is that it doesn't look the part. And if you're talking about a game that is a co-op, MMO type game, and you're not happy with the presentation, your eyes are drunk. The presentation's there. If this is a free to play game that looks like this, your eyes are drunk. If you don't think that it blows most stuff out of the water as far as free to play, it just does. It's not negotiable. I've got criticisms, but the presentation ain't one of them. From the style of this game to everything, the presentation's there. Now this map. This is the next thing I want to talk about. This map is procedurally generated. This is the way to go. by far. As far as replayability, they're already doing it with Warframe. I'm actually surprised they got procedural generation to look this good. Like, I don't know if it's actually procedural here or they just kind of plop them together like Legos, but it looks great. The pieces look great. And I think this is the way to go. Just like I said, for replayability, I like Destiny, but I don't like the fact that every time I play a Destiny map is exactly the same. And I remember back in the day they did those DLCs where it was like you play the map backwards. It's like, Bungie, what the heck are you doing? So me personally, I'm a little more partial towards procedurally generated maps, and this pretty much cuts it. And it looks good. The doors opening, the chest, the little dust when you open the door, like it all looks good. The lighting is well placed. Enemies are well placed. You know what? And that's one thing I got to talk about. Warframe did not really do enemy placement. This seems like they kind of want to do it, where you got an enemy up there on the bridge, he's kind of patrolling. You got the three guys here, they were minding their business till you showed up. So enemy placement really goes well for the feel of the game. What I don't like, and what I think we have to be cautious about, is look how they just mow through these enemies. Look, kick him in the face. He's chopped. He's dead. There's a guy behind you chopping you up, dude. Do something about it. And then this guy busts through the door. Bro, I am Groot and I own these lands and we're going to reinstitute Prima Nocturne. Oh, splat, dead. He's gone. So I am way concerned about that. You know, that guy put on a big show. And for what? Um, if you were to ask me why, one of the main reasons, if not maybe the only reason I don't play Warframe that much outside of big events and uh big cinematic quests and stuff like that, is the enemies. I am not engaged by the enemies at all. And I'm hoping that this is just for presentation's sake, where they're just kicking the crap out of these enemies, instead of this being something where it's like no challenge. Like most of these enemies just got zap, one shot, he's gone. So I don't think they're going that route. I think it's just because they just wanted to show this presentation, to which I would say they shouldn't have done that. The enemy should have fought back, but don't go that route. These enemies should either A, have enough health to defend themselves, which it's not all about health, or they should be able to defend themselves by blocking, by dodging, you know. So that's my D. That's the only thing I'm worried about with you guys. Make sure that it's quality over quantity with the enemies. Just please, please make sure of that, because we don't want more cannon fodder. You can play Warframe if you want cannon fodder enemies. We want enemies that fight back, even if they're not difficult. Now look, now people say, "Oh, Magamu, you know, we don't want Dark Souls." Well, first of all, Souls is in the name, but I agree with you. But there's a gray area, man. There's a gray area between Brain Dead Easy and Dark Souls. And that gray area can be Soulframe, where the enemies are moderately difficult, you know, but you still have your power fantasy and you have your fun. But we don't want to mow them down, but we don't want them to be Dark Souls. At least I don't. There's got to be a happy like middle ground. Like, why does no one like middle ground? You get like a fire sword off of this. I It looks cool. I don't know what to say beyond that. All right, so we go back to the upper world. My guess is that this upper world will probably be static and the lower world will be procedure generated, but I don't know. Here's what concerns me again. Get him, Fido. Yep, just throw him to the side. I'm not a fan of mounts. Um, I've talked to you guys before. I'm not a big MMO person. I don't like the flying in Warframe, the plane divided line. We just fly over content. This concerns me, right? Because I'm typically anti-mount. Now, this wolf doesn't go that fast, so you know, I'm cautiously optimistic that you're not just running or flying past content, but I don't like mounts in games. I get that this is like a semi MMO or whatever, but please D, don't go too far down the route, especially don't do flying. I don't care how much money you can make on a flying broomstick 8 years from now, you know, in this game. Don't ever add flying to this game. Just don't do it. That looks cool, by the way. I don't know what that is. The wolf looks
Hella
cool,
hard.
and I'm okay with what they have so far. But I just minimal on the mounts, man. Please, just don't do too much. But the wolf's fine. I like the wolf. He looks cool. Right here, you kind of look into the past and you see this boss. Get a little cinematic or whatever. We get some more. Now, these enemies aren't as fodder as the other ones, but this gives us a chance to talk about combat. Let's talk about combat, right? All right, so we run into this room. We got like 3 enemies. A lot of people are complaining about the combat, which I think they're right, but they're only kind of right. I don't really agree with them, right? Not about the bugs and hitbox and stuff. There are some hitbox concerns here, but I'm pretty sure they're ironing it out. But about combat in general. So people are saying that the combat is too basic and too bare bones, which I would say we kind of have to wait and see. I'm just glad that you're not just spamming the melee key. They're actually taking their time and creating a system, which is great. And I'm gonna be honest, after a year, this is probably where it should be. This started production, I think, about a year ago, or at least it was revealed about a year ago. So we're being honest, them spending time on other stuff, this is probably about where the melee should be. Now, is it where it should be? No. And again, I'm the one that's saying it shouldn't go up to Dark Souls levels. But it's definitely kind of bare bones basic, and it needs a very technical coat of paint. Cause it's like right here, that's great. That's really cool throwing a sword at him. This guy caught one to the face. He caught a punch too. That was great. You pulled the sword back. That's all. DE does spectacle well. They're really good at that. But the melee itself, it definitely, you can tell it's gonna, unfortunately, it's gonna get compared to single player. Look, this is just the nature of it. This is so far away from your typical MMO looter crap that it's gonna get compared unfairly to games with much better melee, like Dark Souls. I would say it's probably much more fair to compare this to like one of those Lord of the Rings, like Shadow of War
Calm down.
games. But people are saying like melee is not that great. I think they should only refine it up to a point. I'm not a big fan of the running and blocking like that. I don't really like that. I think blocking should be more timed. Like you should have to wait for it. And they got a little bit of timing there, right? Where you parry the enemy and you get like a stagger reaction out of them. That's cool. That's great. I'm glad they're doing all that stuff. With dashes and blocks and timing. But they got to go further. And I'm saying they got to go further because I see the potential. No one's doing this, but if they deliver on this combat system, Soulframe will be the game. And that's what I want because I'm going to play Soulframe. I'm going to play it a lot. Day one. And I want it to be the game. So I would say this melee is at Warframe's melee is at a 2. I'm going to rank them. And hear me out. Okay. Warframe's melee is at a 2. Maybe even a 1. We'll give him a 2. This melee is at about a 5. Dark Souls is at about a 10. Shadow of War and maybe like some of the Batman games are at about a 7 or maybe an 8. This game only needs to get to like a 7, a high 7 in its melee, and it's over. It to me, it's going to be the best combat in current online games. The best melee combat, interactive melee combat. They don't have to hit a 10. That's the
Calm
thing.
down.
People are saying it should be up there with Dark Souls and it should be up there. No, 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 no. This is still an online game, still a co-op game. It shouldn't be a Dark Souls. But at like a 7.5, it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be chef's kiss. So Like I said, I don't fully agree with the criticism of the melee. I think they're going in the right direction, but they have a little bit further to go. They're at about a 4 or 5, and they need to go about 2.5 more notches to get it to a 7. Get a little bit more mechanics with the melee. And honestly, I think that's going to be it, man. They're going to nail it. Now, um, let's see. After we get past all the cannon fodder enemies, we get to the first boss fight. It's got 2 encounters. It's got 2 phases, rather. Let's talk about this boss fight. Now, first of all, if we get any criticism I say after this point, keep this in mind. If we get mechanical boss fights like this in a co-op MMO looter game, oh my god. Oh my god. It's going to be amazing. With the way this looks and the fact that you have to fight the boss and not just chip at their HP only, we're already leaps and bounds ahead of what I would expect in a game like this. So just keep that in mind before I criticize. Now that I got that out of the way, you can tell this is early. Like even some of the collision right there is a little off, but bro, this is not even an alpha. This is a demo. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. But it's good for what it is. Like, I think it's amazing. You got to dodge an attack. You've got environmental hazards. The boss has abilities. Again, I don't like the walking and blocking. But for 1 year development, it's pretty much where it should be. Boss is great, looks great, she fights well. And it's probably where it needs to be for a co-op game. That was a good dodge. That was a good hitbox. Good parries. I don't know how hard this is going to be. And you know what? I'll be willing to bet they want to keep the difficulty down. Again, I'm on the side that it shouldn't be Dark Souls. I know a lot of people are viewing it like that. Like they're going to want to play this like a Souls game. And I'm like, bro, that's not going to happen. Like, I'm pretty sure there's going to be resource farming. Like, there's going to be a middle ground between grindy power fantasy and Souls-like combat. They're going to hit a middle ground. You're not going to get Dark Souls. With that in mind, this is a great start. Now, is it still a little basic? But if they keep refining it, it's going to be great. So essentially, you aren't. It's got very Plains of Eidolon vibes again. You aren't really killing them. You're just kind of saving them. So let's fast forward a little bit. So then you get the boss fight of the deer, antelope, whatever this guy is. And let me just say, holy God. See, now we're in the presentation side of things. This is amazing. The darkness and the lighting, the animations, the feel of this. I'm gonna say this is the point where they kind of pass Remnant. I'm a big fan of Remnant. And the boss fights and the environments, and for the most part, Remnant slays. But holy hell, the way this boss looks with the little spotlight for the eye and the little volumetric fogs and stuff, it's good. Combat-wise, still a little basic, but we're getting there. I don't really play Souls games, so like I said, I'm not looking for that, and I don't really have an eye for it. That block's great. You go in and slash him. I would like to see him feint, like do fake attacks where he kind of baits you in and stuff like that. Come on, is this Megan? Megan, stop getting hit, Megan. You can do better. I believe in you. Megan's got it. I think this is Megan. Oh, that was a weird animation. But this is good. And this is going to be amazing. The music's blaring. The music's great, by the way. I would say this is going to be weird. I think the music's too good. That's a weird thing to say, right? I think the music might be too good or too loud, or it needs to kind of go up and down in the fight. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. So great, you kill it. But man, again, if you can get fights like this, the melee definitely needs some way to go. But the concept of the boss fights looks good. The hitboxes and stuff look weird where you slash at him, but I'm pretty sure they'll clean that up. And then you save the freaking creature or whatever. And then you talk to him. You guys can go watch this on your own. But I mean, that's it. I honestly think, and again, this is my kind of closing thoughts on it. I honestly think that I understand all the criticism of this, especially in the melee department. But man, you guys got to understand, we don't really have a game like this. That water? Okay, I take back everything nice thing I said. What's going on with the water, Steve? That was kind of hilarious. I think with a game like that, we don't have anything like this. And you know what? I do know what I want to say. The problem with a game like this, and this is going to be my big advice to DE. Okay, so now DE, get your popcorn and snacks out. You're gonna have to choose, right? Because this pulls people in two different directions, and I can tell by listening to different videos I've watched about this, is that you're gonna have people from two camps, right? Right now, the vocal people are the sweats. The sweats are the people who are really good at video games. They've beat every Dark Souls 8 times through, right? Those are the people who are going, the combat is too simple, it's too basic. They've got a good point. But you got to understand where their criticism is coming from and what they want out of the game. Even though their point is good, it doesn't make it correct. It is correct, but it's not going to make it always correct. The combat system definitely could use some improvement. But at the same time, the casuals are only going to accept so much. And casuals run gaming right now, unfortunately. So it's two types of people who are going to be battling for the soul of this game. And DE, this is going to be a point. I think in the past, DE tries to hold on to both audiences. This is where I'm going to tear away and say, keep your casual audience on Warframe and keep making content for them. But on Soulframe, I think you guys should put your foot down and appeal to people who are centered towards the sweats. People who lean more towards being okay with dying in a game. If you really listen to Warframe players, they think that if they die in the game, they're like, oh, I died. The game must be broken or buggy or unbalanced. No, you died because it's okay to die in a video game. It really is. So I think D should put their foot down and they should try to appeal to people who want the video game to be a little more difficult. Not difficult, but a little more difficult than Warframe is. And present a challenge. It's okay. Listen, man. In this boss fight, and this is what's super important. This boss fight is ruined, absolutely ruined, if nobody dies. None of this matters. You know, it's cool, it's amazing, it's spectacle. He's knocking trees. Look at the tree. He knocked a tree over, you know? All of that is completely pointless if no one dies. So I think they got to put their foot down and say, we want a player base that understands that you're going to fight this boss a couple times to kill it. And you're going to spend time doing that instead of running through a map, picking up useless resources. You know, let's not do that with this game, I hope. Anyway, that's my opinion, man. It's a little scatterbrained. I apologize. But that's the game. It looks pretty good. I am hopeful. You know, the only thing I would say is the most important thing is add a few more layers to this melee. And keep it coming, man. This looks amazing. I'm gonna play a ton of this. I'm just being honest. And like I said with the Warframe thing, I'll pick it up from time to time, and we'll talk about it from time to time, pretty often. But this is where I want to be. I like what they're doing with the combat and the melee, and we'll see where it lands. Anyway, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you're finished with your meal and you ate something delicious. I'm gonna go eat now since I've been the one doing all the talking. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. That's how I'm gonna pass out after I eat this food, man. That's gonna be me right there. Food coma. The itis. I'm about to destroy it. I'm telling you what's about to happen. I'm about to eat good. Take a nap, bro. That food was good, wasn't it?